Assalamu alaikum. Sabah al khair ya jami'i. It is my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker for our third ilmu. He is an esteemed associate professor at Isra University in Gaza, Palestine, specializing in translation and interpreting studies and applied linguistics. He currently serves as a postdoctoral research fellow at the Hashim Sani Center for Palestine Studies, University of Malaya, Malaysia. With over 15 years of academic experience, he has been a keynote speaker and presenter at more than 40 international conferences and events. He has published numerous scientific papers and book chapters globally and serves on editorial boards and several scientific journals worldwide. In addition to his academic roles, our first speaker is the founder and CEO of the Asian Federation of Translators and Interpreters in Malaysia. His research interests include applied linguistics, translations, and Palestine studies. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Mohammed H. Alaqad. A virtual applause, please. Dr. Alaqad, please take it away.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Can you hear me?
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's very good.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Let me start. I'm trying to open the camera from this side. Hope you are doing well all. First of all, thank you so much, Young Berbahagia, Prof. Madia Sajid, and thank you so much for my former mentor, Professor Rodney Jubilado.
Salam Akad, salam.
Thank you so much. And I would like also to thank all the students here, the committee, the organizer for organizing such a wonderful and amazing webinar and amazing event. It's really fantastic, especially among the student community. So first of all, I'm going to start about talking briefly about legal translation, the challenges and the strategies of legal translation. So in terms of legal translation, everyone considered it's which a kind of authoritative language. Yes, indeed. So in order for legal translation to be illegal, it has some challenges and characteristics and also strategies for certain accuracy in order to maintain. So legal translation, as we all know, is one of the most complex and sensitive fields because it deals with laws, rights, and justice. So in terms of also a single mistake in the legal translation can change the meaning of contract or law ruling or what we call legal documents, leading to serious consequences. So for example, if there is a mistake in your birth certificate or there is a mistake in your certificate, you graduate certificate from the university. So this mistake will lead to several consequences and severe consequences in your life. Since our audience here include a student from the Philippines and also some professors, what I'm going to include here, I am going to include some examples from Arabic, English, and also Tagalog legal terms alongside Arabic and English. So these examples are going to help us to understand the differences between these three languages. So as we mentioned, these are the characteristics of legal text. So it is also important that for the legal text, it's essential for the legal text for international contract, business agreements, and needed for immigration purposes, court cases, and diplomatic relation. Any mistake or mistranslation can lead to legal dispute and huge financial losses for such company or such entity. So what are the characteristics. We all hear about characteristics of legal language. So legal language is not a normal English language, whether it's an English system or Arabic system or Tagalog system. The way we formate, the way we write the legal text is a bit and totally different, actually, in terms of selecting the words, the vocabs, the form of the language itself. So one of the main characteristics is the accuracy and precision. Legal terms have, of course, a specific meaning that must be altered, must not be altered. For example, liability in legal English is different from everyday usage. And we are going to show some examples right now. Also, in terms of formal and technical language, in terms of the form of the language itself, legal document follows strict formal structure and terminology. For example, whereas and the word hereinafter are common in many of the contracts. Hereinafter, whereby, near, all these kind of fixed terms are common in any legal contract, but not in everyday language. Faithfulness to the source text, which is a must in legal language. A legal translation must stay true to the original document intended, and paraphrasing or loose translation can cause legal misinterpretation as well. So the fourth point in terms of characteristics, which is adherence to legal system. The way we are going to write, or the way we are writing legal text, it must adhere to the full context, or the full, what we call holism of the legal system of that language. Different countries have different legal system. For example, in Islam, we have Sharia law, and the Western countries, they have the common law. For example, also in Arabic, we have the word talaq, which is divorce. This kind of word, sometimes when we change it to other words, for example, in English language, sometimes the word divorce in English does not carry the same entity or the same features which the word talaq mean. And also the word mahr in Arabic. For example, if two couples, or a boy and a girl, they want to, the boy, he want to propose a girl, he have to prepare a mahr. In Arabic we call a mahr. So which this kind of amount of money that the boy, he need to prepare to propose that lady. In English we have the same term. It's something similar to word mahr, but actually it does not carry the same meaning. Why does not carry the same meaning? Because in English, the English term of mahr is not exactly the same, which is dowry. D-O-W-R-Y. Dowry in English does not carry the same features of the word mahr. So because of that, most of the contract, when it translated from Arabic into English, they have to keep the word mahr, or retranslate, or what we call transliterate the same word mahr to keep it. The same as the word talaq, they just transliterate it into English as talaq, T-A-L-A-Q. The same word as mahr, because the English or the Western word does not carry the same entity or the same complicated meaning of the word in Arabic. So in the Philippines has no divorce policy except under Muslims law. Also here we have some of these characteristics. We have the unambiguous and clear terminology. These are one of the main characteristics also for the legal text. It must be unambiguous, must be very clear and straightforward language. So legal translation or legal language avoid vague terms, and also it kind of ensure a clarity in order for any person can read and can understand the text. In some cases, there are some terms or legal terms, it need a kind of consultation with a lawyer or with some person who are having some expert in legal translation or legal contract. Example, a contract must define force majeure clear to avoid dispute. These kind of languages, of course, they have some kind of terms, sometimes jargon, which is very important sometimes to indicate to the legal terms or to the legal system. Use of Latin and traditional legal phrases. Some legal documents include Latin phrases. This is, of course, we have and we witnessed that. Pro bono, which is for free, and habeas corpus, which you shall have the body. So now we have some practical examples I prepared for you guys. So in terms also of features of the legal text itself, the legal text, it must have title, chapter, article, paragraph, and item. You can never see any contract without some of these features. This is the form of legal text. So any legal text, it must has these forms and these words or these phrases. In terms of vocabs, because we mentioned earlier, the legal language difference in terms of the system itself from the normal language. The legal language differ in two main features, which are the form and the vocabs. So we have two main points here. The form is different in terms of the title, the chapter, the article, the paragraph. We must have these forms in any legal document. And in terms of the vocabs, we are going to speak about it now. In terms of vocabs, in Arabic we say عدم السماح in the legal language, which is should not allow. The word should not or the word have not. In the normal English, we say should not. You should not go. You should not go. The student should not enter the class, or the student should not come here. Here in Arabic, we say لا أسمح لك بحضور الجلسة. I will not allow you to attend this session. I will not allow you to attend this session. This is general English language. It's a kind of normal English language text. I will not allow you to attend this session. So the negation in the sentence here is I will not. The negation is not here, will not. Okay. If we are going to convert this normal English language into legal, it should be you may not attend this session. So you see the word will not, we converted it to may not, because the word may is a legal word actually. In terms of originality, it's an English word, of course, but in terms of the vocabs of the English language, may usually comes and attached with the legal text characteristics. So in the legal text, we say you may not attend this session, which have exactly the same meaning. I will not allow you to attend this session, or you should not enter this session. This is the normal English, but in the legal, you may not attend this session. So in the normal English language, we have some other examples. You cannot attend this session, or you do not have the permission to attend this session. Also, we have here some other examples. All teachers must obligate to the emergency law. All teachers must obligate to the emergency law. This is general English language. So we have also the same example in general Tagalog language. So, ang lahat, ang guru-guru, kilanggaan, sumund, sa batas, banga, bang, mirihitsya. I hope I pronounce it correctly, guys. So here, the word must in English language, it's already there because this is a kind of obligation in the general language. However, if we convert it into legal text, it will be all teachers shall obligate to the emergency law, because we cannot use must in the legal context. Must is replaced with shall. So all teachers shall obligate to the emergency law. And we have also here the same, also what we call example in Tagalog language. The next example, every Muslim must pray 5 times per day. This is the general English language. The legal form, every Muslim shall pray. So we change the word must into shall, because shall is the word that characterize and having the feature and having more obligation in terms of the obligation manner, it has more obligation for the legal language to be used in the legal language. Here we have also some legal comparison between Arabic, English, and Tagalog. حكم قضائي, which is a court ruling. حكم and حكمان. It's similar to the Arabic word. I think it's there is a kind of loan word between Arabic and Tagalog. وقف, which endowment. Donation, di already. Hindi, maaran ibagbi. I'm not sure what the word Hindi here mean, but I think this whole sentence carrying and giving the same meaning of one word in English and Arabic, which is waqf, endowment. Talaq, divorce, which is copied or a loan word from English. Also we have aqd, contract, wasiya, testimony or will, mirath, shahada, qanun, adala, mahkama, tawkil, and jarima. So we have this word and we have the English equivalence and Tagalog equivalence. So sometimes you can see some of the word copied from English to Arabic, and sometimes from Tagalog or from Arabic to Tagalog, and vice versa. So in terms of the challenges in legal translation, there are several challenges. First, linguistic differences, language system, the difference of language system between the languages itself. For example, if you are going to translate a document or a birth certificate from Arabic to Tagalog or from English to Tagalog, you cannot follow the same style in English because Tagalog language has a different legal style of translating the file or the document, and the system itself differs between English and Tagalog. So every language has its own system. So Arabic has a complex sentence structure, long and descriptive, whereas English is more concise and direct. Tagalog tend to allow or tend to follow subject verb object order, making direct translation difficult. Legal system between the languages, Arabic speaking countries follow Sharia, which is Islamic law, while the Philippines follows a mixed system of civil and common law. Example, marriage laws, divorce is allowed in most Arabic speaking country, but not in the Philippines, except for Muslims under the code of Muslim personal laws. So here we can see some of the differences among the languages and among the culture of each language. Culture and religious challenges. Some Arabic legal terms have no direct English or Tagalog equivalence. For example, the word ghusl, which is ritual purification. The word ritual purification in English, which is ghusl in Arabic, does not have the same equivalence in Tagalog. So they have to use the word ghusl as it is in the Arabic language. So what are the strategies for effective legal translation? If you are going to translate a legal document or a legal context from language A to language B, first use a specialized legal dictionary and the glossaries, and nowadays with the advanced technology and AI, I think it's quite easier comparing to the previous times. For example, Al-Mawrid Legal Dictionary, Black Law Dictionary, and there are many others. Understand the legal context, not just words. Word for word translation can distort the legal meaning, of course. For example, the word good faith in English, this is the meaning of good faith, but in Arabic, the meaning is husn niyya in Arabic, which sometimes the word good faith in English does not carry the same characteristics of this word or of this phrase. Avoid literal translation when needed. For example, عقد العمل بين الشركة والموظف يجب أن يتضمن شروطا واضحة وعادلة. which is the employment contract between the company and the employee, must include clear and fair conditions. Also, we have the Tagalog example here. So number 4 points, which is quite important also, consult legal expert when necessary. So when you are going to translate a document, yes, you can translate it using some of the dictionaries, online dictionaries, and also you can use some assistance in terms of accuracy from a ChatGPT or whatever AI tools. But at the end, you have to consult with a legal expert, whether you ask him or send him the document just to check or to proofread your translation, whether it's correct or not. Try translating these sentences. So we have الشهادة القانونية الضرورية في المحكمة لضمان العدالة. So legal testimony is necessary in court to ensure justice. So the possible translation in Tagalog is ang legal na batuto to the end, which I think it's a bit difficult for me to read it, but I have to admit that I have to learn Tagalog. So here we end the session, and I believe you might be able to capture some of these words and understand these examples that I mentioned. So at the end, a kind of important note to mention, a legal translation is more than just word-for-word translation. It requires actually legal knowledge, linguistic expertise, and culture awareness. So by understanding what we have mentioned just now and some of these examples, I hope you would be able to understand the differences between the legal and the general language, between English, Arabic, Tagalog system, because everyone has its own system and its own characteristics. We can ensure accurate and effective translation. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you also for inviting me to present this piece of information and knowledge to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Alaqad, for sharing your expertise and shedding light on the complexities of legal translation. And now we open the floor for questions. If you have any queries, please drop them in the Zoom chat or use the raise hand feature to be recognized. Okay. Again, you can drop your questions in the Zoom chat or use the raise hand feature to be recognized. So we have now the question from Sir Carl Pimplado. So given the rise of AI and machine translation tools, how do you see their role in legal translation? Can they reliably handle the nuances of legal terminology and jurisdiction-specific conventions, or should human translators remain indispensable in this field?
Yes, it's a very interesting and very informative question. It's timely. However, what I can see from my experience, using AI translation or AI software website for a legal translation is still lagging behind. Until now, there is no any evidence that AI managed to translate any legal text. And me personally, I tested several times with some of the legal documents. Unfortunately, most of the translation in terms of AI, it's just a mere hallucination. No any clear translation. And I should actually urge all of you to use AI for daily works, for daily improvement, for daily exercises, for everything. However, avoid using it for certain sensitive languages like a legal translation, religious translation, medical translation, in terms of translating any of these languages or any of these characteristics of languages, it's a bit hard and untrustworthy to use AI, because most of the words he's going to give you, actually it's hallucination, and it's going to spoil your reputation if you are going to use this translation for any company or for any friend or whatever. The translation itself is 100% not accurate. I tested several times, but for daily translation, for general English translation, yes, the percentage we can gauge, it's around 85 to 90%, which is quite impressive comparing to the previous machine translation like Google Translate or whatever. So nowadays, there are some translation website emerged and powered by AI. Yes, they provide a very good and a vital translation. The percentage could reach 85 to 90%. Yes, we admit that, but still there are some percentage of non-accuracy, and also some percentage of mistakes still exist therein.
Thank you, Dr. Alaqad, for that insightful answer, sir. So now let's move on to our second question from Miss Julian Lomarda. So you can unmute your microphone.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Alaqad, for that very insightful discussion. Since you've mentioned about the challenges of legal translation, as an expert of legal translation, what are some of the ethical dilemmas you have faced in legal translation?
Again, I couldn't hear you clearly.
I apologize. What are some of the ethical dilemmas you have faced in legal translation?
You mean ethical dilemmas in terms of using AI? Because I'm not using, and I do not recommend anyone to use AI for legal translation. You can use it for any text, other text, but for legal, no, I do not recommend. But if you mean the ethical dilemmas for translation in general, yes, you can use AI for translation. You can use it for a translation, but at the end, whenever you send the translation to your client or to whoever you want to send it to him, at the end, you have to mention, I have used this or some parts of this text generated by AI, whether in terms of language correction, in terms of style, in terms of paraphrasing itself. Yes, you have to admit that. Because nowadays, I think it's not a bit difficult for everyone to trace you, whether you use the ChatGPT or whether you use AI or not. It's very simple. Just by one click on certain website, he can give a full report from where you generated or from where you came up with this text. So it's quite simple and easy. But in order to save your face and to save your reputation, better to declare that, and also it's an ethical way. This is the correct and the ethical way to declare or to clear from where you got this text. Is it your own thought, your own ideas, or you just paraphrase it, or you generated by AI assistant? So it is very important, and I urge all students to do that because it's a kind of a trust. It's amana.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Yep, my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alaqad, for that insightful answer. Now let's move on to our third question from Ms. Ashley Jane Insel. Ma'am, if you can open your camera and microphone, please.
Hello. Good morning, Mr. Professor Alaqad. So you have mentioned earlier that some Arabic legal terms have no direct English or Tagalog equivalents, requiring them to be retained in Arabic. But how can these approach maintain legal accuracy while ensuring comprehension for English or Filipino speakers unfamiliar with these words? And could the use of untranslated Arabic legal terms in legal documents lead to misinterpretations in non-Arabic legal system? And if so, how can this be mitigated, po? Thank you.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you, Ashley. Very nice and timely question. Okay, in terms of untranslatability or untranslated legal terms or legal words, yes, we have faced several cases of such a thing. The most applicable method we are using is a transliteration. We just transliterate this name. For example, if you are going to translate a company brochure from Tagalog, from Filipino, from Tagalog language into English, and the first sentence you will see the logo and the name of the company. Are you going to translate the name of the company, for example, the name from Tagalog into English? So let me reply to you. If you are going to translate the name or the logo of that company from English or from Tagalog into English, this is totally wrong. This is not a translation, because you are not going to translate the name. If you translate the name in the other languages, the name may carry totally different meaning. And this is the logo. For example, the word Pepsi, the word Coca-Cola, we cannot translate it. And there are some other companies' name. We cannot translate it into our language, because if we translate it into our language, it may lose its reputation and lose its meaning itself. So the connection between the original entity and the translated one will be lost. So better not to translate it. And we as a translator community, we understand this, and we have some guideline for translation. So for such logos, we cannot translate into other languages. We just keep it. This is exactly the same with some of the legal terms, whether in Arabic or Tagalog or other languages. There are some words we cannot translate, because if we translate, it will have a totally different meaning. For example, I have also some concern about the translating the word Allah, the word God. The word God in English or a Christian, it has a different meaning. For the English people, the word God, it means their own God. So they will understand it as their own God, what they worship and what they believe. For the Christian, the God is Jesus. So for the Hindus, the God is Buddha. For the Muslim, the God is Allah. So if we are going to translate the word God in the Quran, it have a different meaning. For every culture, they will understand it the same as their own God, which is not correct. This is totally wrong. The word God, it's the word Allah, it means Allah. It doesn't mean God, because the word God has totally different meaning according to other culture and according to other language system. So the best way is to transliterate it. Allah, A-L-L-A-H. This is the correct way. For example, there are some other words like the word divorce, the word dowry, the word mahar. There are many other words. If we translate this word into English, it will have a totally different meaning. For example, also another short example, just to make it clear. The word dowry in English, or in a Christian in the English language, let's say, the word dowry here, it means the woman or the girl, she has to bring some kind of gift to the husband during the time of a proposition, which is totally wrong or against the Islamic culture. The word mahar in Arabic, it means the man or the husband who is proposing, he has to bring an amount of money and give it to the lady during the time of a proposition, not after, not before. So there are some different understanding between the word dowry and the word mahar. So if you are a Muslim and you are going to translate a contract from a Muslim person, from English into Arabic or from Arabic into English, so you have to retranslate or transliterate the word mahar into English, M-A-H-R, not to use the word dowry, because the word dowry in the Western, if they read this contract, they will understand the word dowry as the mahar in the Western community, which is not. The women did not give him anything. He gave the woman, because this is his right. This is what Islam mentioned. So there is a kind of misunderstanding in terms of translating certain word and certain vocab. What we are doing as a translator, we just transliterate these words into the other language, whether English, whether Tagalog, whether whatever the language they are going to translate. We just keep the same word and transliterate it. Sometime, even in the Quran, in the copy of the Quran, you can see some other words not translated, so it's actually transliterated. So they keep the same word, they transliterate it into English using the English or the Latin characteristics, Latin characters, but at the footnote down at the book, they interpret it. They give a clear explanation. What is the meaning of this word? What is the meaning of this sentence? So this is the correct way of translating a document in order to have the highest level of accuracy and to have the same trustworthy word from the source text to the target text. Because you are a translator, you are the person who is responsible for the accuracy, you are the person who is responsible for any mistranslation in the text itself. So you have to follow the ethics and you have to translate the language correctly.
Thank you, sir, for answering my question.
Yep, my pleasure. No worries.
Thank you, Dr. Alaqad, for that insightful explanation. Sir, we have here insight in the chat box from Ma'am Jahaira Sulaiman. So she said there are cultural terms in Maranao that cannot be exactly translated into Tagalog, English, and Arabic. As someone who writes about culture, I have problems translating many terms. She also added that AI still has a long way to go in that respect, for many languages are not widely translated. So, Ma'am Jahara, would you like to add or ask questions to Dr. Alaqad? Good morning, ma'am. You may turn on your camera and your microphone.
Hello, am I visible here? Hello? Can I be seen?
Ma'am, we can hear you po, loud and clear.
Okay, my culture, no? Will the same strategies regarding translation?
Again, ma'am?
Okay, will the same strategies for legal translation that you have mentioned a while ago be used in writing about
You
culture?
mean will
Because
the
I
strategies
come
will be
from
used for
one
cultural
of the
languages?
Muslim tribes here in the Philippines, and there are certain terms about our culture that cannot be translated, and sometimes they make their way into
Again, ma'am, you mean will the same strategies that I mentioned will be used in writing about culture? Is this what you mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Question, sir, asked that will the same strategy be used in writing about culture?
Yes, perfect. Some parts of the strategies can be used and are applicable to be used for culture translation or translation culture word. Yes, correct. But not all of it. For example, you have to specialize, you have to consult specialized culture dictionaries and understand the culture between the languages. For example, also another important example I need to mention, not every language, not every student or not every speaker of the other languages are able to be a good translator, meaning that not everyone speaking two languages is a good translator. For example, you are speaking English and Tagalog. Can you be a good translator? Of course not. There are some people speaking many languages. Can they be a good translator? Of course not. Why? Because in order to be a good translator, you have to master not only two languages, but you have to master two culture. You have to master the culture of these two languages. Whenever you master these cultures, same as your native language, then you can be a good translator. You are capable to be a good translator if you master these languages and this culture, not only the language itself. So in order to have the strategies for culture translation or translating culture, yes, some of these strategies, as I mentioned, are applicable. And also one more interesting point, which is adaptation. For the culture translation, we have to adapt the term and the language of that culture. Meaning that if we are going to translate a file or a culture text from English to Tagalog or from Tagalog to English, we have to follow the same culture, the same Tagalog culture in translating the English file. For example, if the file is about a dragon and whatever, something about the culture, the Filipino culture. So this expresses a fulfilled and a very intense culture in the Filipino culture. It's already explained in the text itself. But if we are going to translate literally using literal language, it will lose most of these features. So we have to adopt the language. We have to adopt this style and copy it into the other language that we are going to translate into. So the word or the approach of translating culture terms, we have to use the adoption strategy in order to adopt some of these words, some of these culture terms that will follow under adaptation of the culture. You have to adapt your terms and your culture with the language that you are going to translate into, which is very interesting and very faithful. Otherwise, you will lose a lot of language nonsense. You will lose a lot of characteristics of the main language that you are going to translate from and into.
Thank you, Dr. Alaqad. That was a very informative explanation. So as much as we love seeing so many insightful and thought-provoking questions from all of you, your curiosity and engagement truly make this discussion even more meaningful. However, due to time constraints, we will only be able to entertain one last question. However, if you still have queries, don't worry, you can still send them to our chat box, and maybe our lecturer may respond during the event. Now, for our final question, we have Ma'am Sumaya Tambuko. So her questions, I just wanted to know, in your experience, are there specific legal sectors, for example, contract law, family law, that present more challenges in translation than others? So again, Mom Sumaya's question, I just wanted to know, in your experience, are there specific legal sectors, contract law, family law, that present more challenges in translation than others?
Oh, yes, exactly. Yes, that's correct. In terms of legal contract and legal terms, legal contract, it's a bit challenging comparing to other legal forms. And also, we can find, based on my experience for almost 16 years in the field of translation and conference interpretation, I can see the most challenges I faced personally and many of my peers face in translation, especially for legal terms and legal document, is the forensic report, guys. For translating forensic reports, which is include medical and legal information, medical and legal statement in the same report, it's really difficult. Translating forensic report, whether it include some information about the corpus and what they have to look for, evidences, testimonies. It includes both legal and medical terms, which is really difficult. And I think even in the next 5 years, ChatGPT even won't be able to translate such a document, because we, as a human, we face a lot of challenges, and we have to consult several experts. We have to consult several dictionaries in order to translate certain piece of information in that forensic report. So I don't think with the huge advancement in AI, it will be able to handle that. And the case itself is not the translation, it's also the consequences of any mistranslation or any mistake in the translation. The consequences will be really catastrophic. So I don't think many of the countries and I don't think any of the countries or any of the legal entities, legal bodies will jeopardize their reputation to give such a piece of confidential and precious text to ChatGPT to translate it.
Thank you, Dr. Alaqad. That was an incredibly engaging discussion. We sincerely appreciate your time, expertise, and thoughtful responses to our students' inquiries. Your insights have given us a deeper understanding of the complexities and nuances of legal translation. We also want to thank our students and teachers for their well-crafted questions, which have truly enriched today's session. Let's give Dr. Alaqad and ourselves a virtual round of applause. Feel free to drop a clapping reaction in the chat box. We look forward to more insightful discussions ahead. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to present a certificate of recognition to Dr. Mohammed H. Alaqad for his invaluable contribution to this lecture series. We kindly ask Dr. Alaqad to stay on screen as we present the certificate virtually. Allow me to read the citation. Republic of the Philippines, University of Southeastern Philippines, Davao City. Certificate of recognition is given to Dr. Mohammed H. Alaqad, University, Malaya, Malaysia, for his sharing his time and expertise as resource speaker on the topic translation of legal texts during the third ILMO International Lecture Series on Applied Linguistics held on March 28, 2025 via Zoom, issued on the 20th day of March 2025, USEP, Davao City, Philippines. Signed Francis N. Reginio, ILCA Head, and Sajid S. Ingilan, Program Head. To officially commemorate this moment, we will now have a photo opportunity. We invite everyone to turn on their cameras and flash their best smiles. Our technical team will take the screenshot. Again, we are encouraging everyone to open their cameras and flash your best smiles. Our technical team will take the screenshot in 3, 2, 1. Once again, thank you, Dr. Alaqad, for being with us today.